Welcome to the podcast, guys. This week we're going to be talking about Grace and I's role reversal, my massive Pixar binge, her anger management yet again, and of course, what we're grateful for. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to a special shortened week episode of the Straight Shot Podcast. It's Thanksgiving week. I'm back home at my family's right now. Grace is taking over the office as interim CEO. So, yeah.
I'm feeling the CEO energy in this chair.
Yeah, you getting the vibes?
With Yeah,
we definitely switched spots. I got my AirPods on now, and I'm in the... I'm not sitting on the floor like you normally do, but, it's close enough.
I feel like that needs context. I like to sit on the floor. I started that after I injured my back this summer, and it was the second time that this injury happened. I got a bulging disc in my lower back. And it's like one step before a herniated disc, basically. And it's like when one of your spine bones like comes out a little bit. It's very painful. I went to a bunch of physical therapy.
Isn't it, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought it was like the gel between the bones, not the bone itself. Is that right? Am I right or wrong about that?
Oh, I actually don't know.
I think the disc is in between the bones. It's like the cartilage or whatever, the fluid, so that your spine can bend.
That makes sense. I don't know why I had it in my mind it was bone. But yeah, it's the disc that moves. So, and then it pinches a nerve, and then you have like nerve pain down your leg. It was terrible. It hurt a lot to sit in a chair. So, and I felt better when I'd sit on the floor. So I did that. And I still do that when I'm working from home, because why not? And it's funny because we have these like editor chairs that are expensive and supposed to be great for your back with back support, but they actually hurt my back more.
What about that one? That's my chair, and that's a $500 chair.
It hurts.
That's crazy.
What it is like the bottom of the chair isn't hard enough. It's a little like flexy.
Yes.
And so it feels like it's not stable to me. I want it like firm under me.
Very interesting.
That's what hurts. And I mean, this whole week, ever since I had my back injury, I hadn't come into the office. I don't think 3 days consecutively. I don't think I've come. And, these past 2 days, I worked for like 10 to 11 hours in that one chair, and my back hurts now. I was working a lot because I'm going to Qatar next week to the World Cup, so I needed to catch up before I go. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm on the other side. I went home this weekend, which I was afraid that it would kind of mess up my routines, and it did pretty quickly. It's just hard to, I feel like I'm off, right? Like I'm just not in the same zone, I think. I don't have the same morning routine. And so I kind of planned around it knowing I'd be coming home this week. And then, of course, like my mom got into... I don't know, man. It's funny because I'm like, who watches it? Like TV commercials are dead, blah, 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 blah. But obviously, like my mom, I don't know if you heard of this. It's a religious show called The Chosen that's like gotten really popular, I guess, on religious communities. I don't know if it's stepped outside of that. And she was just like, made me sit and watch it. It's actually, it's well done. It is somewhat preachy, of course, but it's like they're trying to do a historical drama, with like multiple different kinds of characters. Like kind of like what I wanted to do as well is like, following like the apostles around and stuff like that. And so the problem is like, one, I know the story already anyways. Two, I'm not particularly religious like that. So it just, but it very much just became a watch this with me. I'm your mother. I give birth to you. And I'm like, fine. I tried. I was like, it's a work night. I gotta go. She's like, no choice. Make me happy. And I was like, fine, mama. So sometimes you got to do those things, but that's what it's like being home. And so I've been here kind of in and out. It's nice. I get some home cooking, and I could smell all the delicious smells as she's baking and
like
eating.
24/7. Like when you're at home, he's like constantly munching on something. I think
too much
great.
stuff. It's too good. It's too good.
It's
way too good over here.
Otherwise, I'm watching you eat your bowls, the same bowls, basically every day. Dale has like a personal cook dude who makes him pretty much the same stuff every day. So I like seeing the variety.
I think anyone who's in the game, anyone who's in the like health or the fitness game understands like counting calories and all that's kind of a pain. So like just guaranteeing it. So it's not, the variety of meals is all the same amount of protein, same amount of carbs, etc. basically. And so yeah, when I come here, it's like there's just so many snacks, all of the snacks, chips, cookies, lots of good croissants, bacon and eggs in the morning. I mean, it's just got everything. So I'm just enjoying it while I got it before I head back to my routine. But yeah, it's been definitely a different vibe as Grace is like work and grinding, and I'm kind of like easing up this week.
Yeah, and you were asking me like, why are you angry? I feel like, well, first of all, I'm PMSing, so there's that. I think, but also,
real quick, I just want to give some context for people because. This is really a follow-up to the last episode that we had where Grace was talking about that she's like letting her emotions out more and she's feeling more like freed. But then, of course, after the podcast, I was thinking about it like, because I associate a lot with anger too. That's like one of the emotions I'm the closest with. Not necessarily, and I want to make sure people don't understand, like, not that I'm angry all the time, right? But it is a emotion that I am close with, that I harness. Most of the time I'm happy and chill, like right now, right? But it's near and dear. It's a close emotion that I associate with. So hearing that from you in the last one, I definitely wanted to follow up and be like, what do you think, like, how is anger, what's your relationship with that emotion?
What's my relationship with anger? Or going
there? Yeah.
Oh,
well, that's what, because you were, because you feel better letting it out, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, I think my relationship with anger is, I feel like I was a angry child. Like, I don't know. I think about my childhood and I was like always just angry, and at school, and my teachers would get mad at me for they call me rude. I would like bite things and I left teeth marks in our like home coffee table because I was so mad and I didn't know how to take it out, so I just bit it and it permanently had marks. I used to pull my grandma's hair when I was like 7, and I don't know, I was just so angry, I think. And I remember like I went to the school peacemaker place. There's like a place called Stay on Track. Stood for like tolerance, respect. Oh, I forgot the rest. Anyway, I went to like the school peace place, and then like where they have like a designated teacher who tells you how to deal with your issues. And she was like, next time you're feeling angry, you should like bang on the walls or something, but just don't hurt yourself. So then that way you're not hurting anyone, you're not hurting yourself. And I was like, okay. And I went home and I did that when I was angry in my room, and then my dad got mad at me. And so I feel like I feel like I just grew up where I was punished for being angry. I mean, this is like so generic. Like I'm sure so many people deal with that. And I don't know, maybe because I'm Brazilian, it's the Latin anger, like the Latin sass, but I would always feel angry or aggressive. Honestly, to me, it doesn't feel that aggressive or angry, but I was told that it's that, especially in like Japanese school. I remember going to Japanese school. I'll make friends for a few months, and then after a few months, like my sass or anger will come out, and then they get scared of me, and then I lose those friends. Like that happens so many times with Japanese people, and so I've like learned to tone it down. And then if anyone's into horoscopes, when I say that I'm an Aries moon, everyone's always like, that makes sense. It's a fire sign. But yeah, so that's my relationship with anger. I feel like I feel a lot of it, but I don't express a lot of it because I've learned not to. And like, little things like my dad would get mad at me if I was angry and I like stomped up the stairs, I'd get in trouble. So I learned to, even when I'm angry, really gently walk up the stairs and never make a sound. Or like closing the door. If I close it even a little strong, I'd get in trouble. So like I learned to like close it really gently. And I was like always walking on eggshells. So I'm used to masking it, but it bottles up. And that's how I deal with all my emotions. I've like learned to just bottle it up because I'm like, I can't express it. But learning how to express it in a healthy way is good. Part of that I learned in drama school, some like really useful tactics I learned in drama school. But yeah, in a work environment, it's a different thing and it's tricky. So yeah, that's my relationship with anger.
I feel like I'm definitely at a place in my life where I understand how to use and control these things. And I feel like guys are still developing all those kind of techniques. I remember when I was younger, it took me a while to really understand how to hear criticism, how to translate it. Because sometimes people also didn't communicate their criticism in the best ways either, right? It's like a two-way street.
Yeah.
And so it definitely took me a while to get through that and to use to learn like where to put anger in my life and how to use it as a motivator when needed, and how to not let it, because it's a very powerful one. It's definitely a big decision. Like it will absolutely dictate decisions for you if you do not know how to maintain and manage it. So
I also do want to mention though that in all of my therapy and also in acting school, I learned that anger is a secondary emotion, that it's not a primary emotion, and there's always something behind anger. Something that's a primary emotion will kick you into anger because it's kind of like a fight or flight. And so I'm trying to learn more about that, being like, it might hurt, probably, but like how and what way.
Yeah, all I have to say here is you're just like way beyond, and as far as maturity and everything, way beyond my years. So hopefully that's a good sign for the company. Considering we talk about all these things all the time. But yeah, I was definitely big on that.
I think
Go ahead.
Oh, you being like, oh, you're like fiery today. I feel like it's just because I'm in the office and I'm in work mode, and then like you being in like house mode, it's probably very like contrasting, and you're probably like, whoa.
Yeah, I'm like super chill right now.
Like if I was at home and I like came into, probably when I'm in Qatar with my mom in like vacation mode, and then like I call in to do the podcast and you're in the office, it's probably gonna be the other way around next week. We'll see.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah. The last thing I wanted to ask on that, as we wrap up that conversation, was more about like where you are. Like, for example, like do you still judge yourself for the emotions that you have?
I do. I mean, I'm working on not, but like, it's a learning process, like most of the time I judge myself. Sometimes I don't catch it, and then my therapist is like, hey, you're judging, and I'm like, oh, I am. But sometimes I do judge myself, and then like I'm learning there's like such a difference of I'm judging myself, and then I like catch it in my brain and I say, hey, don't judge yourself. But then, and like I can do that in my brain, but like my emotions and my body is still in judgment. And like it's one thing to know it, and it's another thing to put it in practice. So I'm at a point where I'm noticing it sometimes, most of the time. Hopefully, who knows? But
I mean, that's always the first step.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I'm very judgmental though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a INTJ, so it's very much like, I mean, I know that my inner critic is strong, but basically what it's turned into is like, I don't judge myself for judging myself even. So like, I'll get pissed off. I just make sure that it doesn't last long. Mm-hmm. That's really it. So like, it's not like I definitely am at a place where it's like I don't force myself to not feel a thing, if that makes sense. I'm like, let me feel the thing, just short period. So I don't like repress anything. And that's why you see me switch moods and tones. I'm kind of just going with the flow for the most part. That way, when I have to focus down and I have to really control myself, then I can do it. Basically. So yeah, very interesting. But yeah, so what else was your experience like working without me this week?
My favorite part was that I could keep the Brita filter out of the fridge, and I could drink
boo.
What is it? Neutral room temperature water.
It's room temperature
all
water.
Week. It was great. I don't like cold water. What's scary was there were some noises downstairs, and I don't know what that was about. It could be like rodents on the other side of the wall. Who knows? But that was scary.
I think it's also winter. A lot of the pipes are turning on, the heat. There's all that stuff. There's always some weird sounds. I guess I'm just used to it now. But yeah.
Well, yeah, everyone has their own weird sounds in their apartment. So yeah, I'm used to my weird sounds, but not yours. It's been cool. I don't know.
Do you find it more productive? Do you find it more productive not working from home, but also not working directly with me?
Oh, that's interesting. I do think it's more productive in that I have the big monitor instead of my little laptop. Yeah, I guess it is pretty productive, but it's also like there are meetings that we have that could be easier when in person.
I agree.
Like brainstorming stuff, big company decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems... And then maybe it's just the virtue of, again, me being here, a little bit harder to stay focused because, like, I can hear my parents talking downstairs or people coming into the house and I want to go say hi to some family or whatever. But overall, I think we've been able to stay somewhat productive this week, even though I was away.
I learned this week that I think I was talking to my dad and his girlfriend about, like what I do at work. And they're like, wait, what's your title? And I said, executive assistant. They're like, that sounds more like chief of staff stuff. And I was like, huh, interesting. So I guess the executive assistant and personal assistant side is easier, but the chief of staff stuff is harder remotely. That's more like in person, crunching numbers, making decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I think it's certainly a unique position, but there's always something new. And this week, I think you did a great job, at least keeping me focused and pulling me back in, because it's definitely been hard. For example, really what I've been doing like this whole weekend or whatever, I was at my brother's house. I binged cooking shows, The Last Table, so good. And I also binged Pixar movies, because obviously I'm reading the book about Pixar. We're trying to build the next Pixar for digital media and all of us. And so I was like, I need to catch up and watch all of them. I saw Onward. I saw Encanto, which is not, but I just wanted to get a sense of it. It was okay. I think it was overhyped for me, Encanto.
Wait, it's not Pixar?
No, that's just Disney animation, I believe.
Oh, damn, that's hot take.
It was, yeah, I know. And I'm like, it's not like there was,
though. Yeah.
But I think part of it was like, I think for other cultures, it might be new and cool and refreshing. But for me, it was just, I was like, okay, yeah, it's like music. I know these musics. This is Latin music. It wasn't maybe as thrilling or exciting. It was just another good, solid type of movie. But
what about Coco?
I died when I watched Coco. I cried like a baby. But I saw that in theaters. My grandfather was a folk singer. You know what I mean? It was definitely,
okay.
The story was more personal because it was about, grandparents and music, and that literally connected with a lot of my family, my growing up. So that was definitely, I made my whole family go see it. Everybody cried, and then we just kept texting each other to see it, and then more crying, and then more seeing, and then more crying. So, but in the best way, in the Pixar's best way. And I saw another one that actually kind of got me a little bit, which was Onward. I thought the movie, that's the one with the ogres and the dad. Shout out to my buddy Brian. He made me see it because his kid's name is Ian, and the main character's name is Ian, who wants to go hang out with his dad. So he just was super emotional about it. And it's a story about two brothers. And basically the younger one tries to, whatever course of events, they find a spell so they can bring their dad back for a day. It goes wrong. They only bring back the bottom half of his body. And so they go on a journey to find how to get the top half so they can spend some time with their dad. That's it. But it's really beautiful. That's actually about brothers and brotherhood, and they got me at the end. So, but overall, it's not like, it's not their worst, not their best. Falls, I think, somewhere in the middle. I think I liked Soul more, but that's because the whole existential thing kind of got me. But I definitely got choked up at the end of Onward. And then I started Luca, which was the one that's in Italy. They're like mermaids, I guess. And basically it's another one about two young boys being friends, but I just love that it's set in Italy, and like the Italian fighting, which is similar to like Puerto Rican passion. So, Puerto Ricans and Italians get along pretty well now, but it's just passion, man. So that movie I think, enjoying more from a world standpoint. The stories are all somewhat similar-ish, just more. So I don't know if I'm necessarily finding anything that I go, wow, that was like super refreshing or original, but just studying just like their baseline quality and how they're essentially incorporating different cultures in some of their movies now. Like obviously you mentioned Coco, this one's in Italy with Italian culture. So, and really focus on people and human stories. Well, they're all human stories, but I mean people as the central characters, if you can call it that, because it's about like mermaid people. But it's very, they really do just are masters of fundamentals. So it's really good to just look at. But yeah, that's what I've been sort of binging while I'm here.
Cool. The only Pixar thing that I've consumed this week was randomly on Instagram. I saw a conspiracy theory about Nemo. And a few episodes ago, you asked me what my favorite Pixar movie was, and I said Nemo. And so it really freaked me out, this one. I've also heard like the same conspiracy theory about My Neighbor Totoro, but basically that Nemo was dead all along. And
this is his dad coping?
Yeah, and Nemo in Latin means no one, so it's like finding no one. And it was just a figment of his imagination after the shark attack.
That is hilarious.
It messed me up, man. That was freaking.
I love when people do that. I can almost guarantee that is not Pixar's intention, which is amazing.
But why is no one, Nemo mean no one.
I don't know, bro, but like I doubt that that's what they were, they probably just thought Nemo was a cute name.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Anytime I hear those kinds of stories, it's a little freaky.
So yeah, I've definitely been enjoying a bit of binge watching since I don't do that as much either. And WALL-E is still my favorite Pixar. And I think that whole string that they had in the middle, like Toy Story was great and foundational, but like after that, there was so many from Nemo, WALL-E, Up, that whole thing. That's kind of, I think, their golden stretch. But either way, I appreciate and I'm grateful for Pixar. And yeah, what are you grateful for? Do you do a little family tradition for Thanksgiving? Like we do? We all have to talk about what we're grateful for at the table.
I mean, when my parents were still married, yeah. That was when I was 14 years old. Did we? I mean, Thanksgiving was never a favorite holiday of mine. And I remember the first time I said that to you, you freaked out. You were like, oh, I gotta show you my Thanksgiving. And you asked me, what do I eat on Thanksgiving, just to like gauge my culture. And I was like, just chicken. Our family doesn't like turkey, so we made chicken. And it would be my mom and my dad, and then that's the only family I have in America, in the US. So we would have like one of my mom's friends over, or we would go to my dad's friend's place, like a family friend's house that everyone is Brazilian, and I didn't understand a word of Portuguese. And if I spoke in Japanese, my dad would get mad at me.
That's hilarious.
I would like, what am I going to speak in English to my mom? That's weird. But anyway, so Thanksgiving, I don't have fond memories. I was just always stressed out. That's my experience of it.
Thanksgiving is a holiday that has that. It's so hit or miss for some. I
love Christmas. I have to say, Christmas is my favorite, but I hate Thanksgiving.
Which is funny because for me, I'm like, Christmas is Thanksgiving, but with presents, which is issues for me. That's like pressure and other bullshit that I'm like, Thanksgiving is just the more pure version of Christmas. That's how I look at it, I guess.
I guess I came into liking Christmas when I was a child because I liked getting gifts. So
yeah, of course.
So then I didn't see it that way, but now I guess that's true.
Yeah, but maybe I'm a bit of a, I'm a purist, you got to like your family when they don't give you gifts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got shit to figure out. Oh, man.
Okay. I was listening to a podcast about Thanksgiving this morning, Armchair Expert, and they were saying that Thanksgiving and Christmas is similar. Christmas is just sweets, and Thanksgiving is savory. Kind of. I just don't really like the Thanksgiving food either. I genuinely don't think it's yummy.
I guess that is, yes, because I understand you're talking about like the generic Thanksgiving
stuffing,
food.
Turkey, cranberry sauce.
You don't like stuffing, dude?
I mean, stuffing's okay, but like it's
stuffing with sausage?
I think it just got associated with bad memories. I just don't like it.
Yeah, we got to change this. We're going to change. I'm going to fix this and show you the truth. But to be fair, when our Thanksgiving literally, it's probably more Italian and Puerto Rican food than it is like the American.
I mean, yeah, I'm working on your computer right now, and I just saw all the group chat of your family talking about the pernil and all the food. So they've been going off this whole day.
It's who we are, man. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. All right, let's do this. Hack of the week, guys. I don't know when you see this episode, but I'm going to teach you how to do Thanksgiving, okay?
Or any party, for that matter. Any big party.
Yeah, especially if there's like a buffet or whatever, because basically we have a mix of different kinds of foods, and in my opinion, the go-to strategy is you want to eat the stuff that, and I don't know if you're thinking about this way, that doesn't reheat better the next day. So for me, that's rice, that's pork, okay? Like on my family side. I literally, and it's not easy to build this mental, you have to commit to the strategy. I just take all the Italian food and I literally skip it. Okay, now some people, they're going to get, al dente pasta, blah, 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 blah. They're going to be very picky. But day-old pasta versus day-old rice is, to me, most of the time, no question as far as what kind of flavors you're going to get from the freshness. So the go-to strategy is hammer in the American stuff, understand what you can reheat, and strategize your plate around that. and probably make a plate half as big as you normally would have. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people fill it up, they'll eat half. That's such a waste. So to me, I'm like, let me go in targeted, get veggies, get the protein that I want. You know what I'm saying? And hit it with the rice and the pork, for example, and veggies. And I just eat that plate like it's a regular dinner. Then I decide, let me go in for half of another plate or maybe try a thing. But at least for me, I always know that like there's a whole second meal of dessert. So I just commit to the strategy. Next day I come in and it's not even leftovers. That's the best part. It's a whole new meal. And then I get leftovers Saturday, Sunday because then I can pick what I like the best. So I split up my Thanksgiving like that.
I like the strategy. I think it's a great hack, but I so disagree with the contents of it because the way you put it, like I've heard this theory before and I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense. But the way you said it now, day old pasta versus day old pork and rice, I was like, I'd choose day old pork and rice because rice, you could reheat it by adding a little bit of water and then it's like, it's fresh. And pork, the older it gets, the more the flavor, I mean, not like 5 days old, but the more the flavors marinate. And so I like that versus pasta. I don't like but that's a preference. I don't like soppy, soft pasta. I want the al dente. I want the sauce that's like freshly cooked, not like reheated sauce that's a little like stuck to the pasta and it's not its own fluid thing. So that's my opinion. But
I'm down to each his own.
To each his own. But
because
the method
I literally see it. Yeah, I literally see it the other way where it's like I think that the sauce gets better when it sits like for a day. And our rice, I think it's just in particular, it's like how like what, because it's not like it's just steamed white rice like Puerto Rican rice, you know. So yeah, I would say in the comments below, let us know what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish, especially if it's a non-traditional one. And I'd love to hear about it. So yeah, so you never did outside of the company because obviously we do it here this Monday.
Yeah, talking about what
we're grateful for.
Grateful for? No, I think my dad would just like pray at the table and just say it for us. So I don't think I ever said it really.
Were we in the same group this week?
We were all in one group, yes.
Oh, we were. Yes. Yeah. So why don't you go? So what did you say? I know for me this year was all about the little things. Like I said I was grateful for my iPhone. Judge me in the comments if you want, but then take a second to think about how amazing your phone is in your hand, all the incredible things it can do for you, and then tell me you're not grateful that you have it and didn't live in 1800 or 1700 or 1300. You know what I'm saying? So think about it before you judge, but then go ahead and judge me because I get it, it's technology. Oh, and we were very clear, I guess, before anybody comes at me. And because it's easy, you're not allowed to say you're grateful for your health or your friends or your family when we do it. I want people to try to find something outside of the, basic essentials that they're grateful for. And so that's kind of our tradition that we do here, which was fun. So yeah. Grace got a little cheat.
I've started recently, like for the past few months, waking up every morning and writing like one thing that I'm grateful for in my notebook.
Oh, I love that.
So yeah, it's not perfect. I miss some days, I forget. But I've started doing that, being like, there's no way I'm going to have something new every day. But there is. And so when we had this sharing of what we're grateful for at the company, I didn't know what to say because I was like, there's so much now. But I said two things. First, I said my back, feeling better. Earlier, I talked about how I injured my back. And now it still isn't perfect. Like, this week was an intense sitting week and it hurt a little bit, but I'm happy. I'm grateful that I can sit in a chair again. I can braid my hair again. Braiding my hair, I couldn't do because it requires core strength and back support. I'm able to work at my restaurant, a double shift, just walk around for a long time without any pain. I can carry heavier things. So I'm really grateful for that. My second thing was that I'm really grateful for the English language, or knowing English. I'm grateful to know English. I feel like I often talk about all the other languages and cultures that I know, but I realized I'm grateful that my first language is English and that I know it fluently. You take it for granted, I feel like, but it's so useful. I'm going to Qatar and I'm coming home by myself. My mom is going to stay in Qatar and I come home, and I was really worried about navigating the airport. But my mom's like, you speak English, you're set. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. I'm so glad I do. So
Yeah, I think that's another good one. I think there was a lot of people that came around, again, when you can't say the easy things that have to kind of come up with some fun stuff. I definitely thought that one caught us. By the way, Grace was allowed to cheat and talk about her health specifically because she had, an issue this year that she worked through. But her second one was just as good. Somebody was grateful for work, which I think is something. Obviously, when you have a job, you kind of take it for granted, but they were talking about how their friends had come up to them who either didn't have work or did not like their job or things like that. And that certainly, that's always eye-opening to remember, right? Like if you enjoy the thing you're doing, even if there's some problems with it, maybe you're not getting paid as much, maybe, you have some issues with the content or the coworkers or whatever, but to try to look at it as a whole. I was talking to my sister-in-law about this, who said, oh, I just got another offer from this place. Like, what should I do? And then I said, are you happy where you are? That's the first question. Because if you like it and it's giving you the things that you need in your life, at some point, more money doesn't actually have the same amount of value that it does, like when you need it. Do you know what I mean? So outside of basic survival, like happiness is going to be, I think, the core thing to look at. And understanding what about that company makes you happy, because that way you can sort of see an actual value trade, making sure happiness is equated. If happiness is equal at both companies and you're getting more money and you're getting a better job title or whatever, it makes a decision easy. But it's one of those things where, like, yeah, if you jump ship and then you hate the place, like, that's never worth it. Just ask anybody who's in that position. It's never worth it. So I definitely thought that was a really good one.
One of our editors was grateful for food because we got COVID and lost taste and smell. So that was a good one. That was a good lesson.
Yes, I love that too. So I thought it was a really good practice. And some of our members aren't from America now, so it was even funny to have them join in what is a very traditional American practice. So that was a lot of fun. And overall, I thought it was something that I'm glad we do it. We do it every year. And it's definitely one of my favorite things. And then I guess I just wanted to shout out that, like, because this happened after that meeting, but I would definitely say another thing I'm super grateful for this year is like mentorship in whatever way, or just like people giving their advice. And I do this all the time with people here. It just feels good to help people get better. But we recently had a couple of meetings, follow-ups too, getting advice from other entrepreneurs that are, much, much more ahead than I am. I think we touched on this in a previous episode, but we had a follow-up this week that, I thought was really just fruitful and amazing. It was really just building a relationship and actually genuinely seeing how we can help each other. And I thought that was just the coolest thing to me. And I had been trying to figure out how I can give value back, because I thought that the advice I was given previously was just so good. And then, I was glad to get on my, YouTube is the future and build an audience and leverage all of his, marketing talents to support the films that his companies are making, to build that audience and to garner interest before you make a thing. I think is super powerful. And he really took to that. And I guess I want to say that, there's not, guys, like when you're meeting all these different people, like, I don't really know. I have a really good barometer. Like, I'm always looking for the real ones. You know what I'm saying? Grace is a real one. We put the egos down and we look for the right answers, and we find a way to get there. And that I can't describe. That's how I look at like a real one. This guy who is clearly way better than me in most regards in business, still, when I spoke, listened and was like, that is a very good idea. I'm going to talk to my people about this kind of a thing. And I think that is a huge, for me, a huge telltale about if they're a real one or not. Because they don't care where the good ideas come from. They care about how to make things happen. And for sure, he's one of those people. So I'm definitely grateful for those kind of people in my life. They're very, very rare, but like so meaningful to when you meet them. And I really am happy to have these conversations. And as an introvert, right? Like I really struggle with these kinds of things, but I'm starting to build more confidence as a business owner that I have something to offer to bring to the table. And being an expert in storytelling is valuable across the board. So it's like finding what I can do to help others storytelling is something a lot of companies need, and so I'm like, okay, I do have something I can bring to the table that's valuable for them. And that's a good feeling to have. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah, it was cool watching you guys bouncing back and forth advice, basically. It was, I was watching like a proud mom. I was like, this is sweet.
Nice. Yeah, it was a good one. So yeah, I'd say let's start to wrap this one up. Some things that we're looking forward to as the year ends. Been interviewing or been digging through, looking for illustrators for Straight Shot Studios. We're going to be launching 2 webcomics next year. Been looking at editors and project managers. So that has been fun and interesting. I'm sure when Grace is away, she's going to line up a lot of those and you'll hear me complaining about interviewing and complaining about talking and all that jazz. So look forward to that. But I definitely have been finding it interesting that there's like this, we could dig into this in another episode, just the difference between just looking at all these different artists, the ones that make us feel something versus the ones that are actually just technically good. And I think it's with illustration in particular, I think there's such a wide range of styles and how they can grab your emotions that it's been a very interesting journey. So when we have more to share there, I think we will. Anything you're looking forward to?
In the next week?
Well, when you get wrapping up, because we only have a couple episodes left before the year ends.
What am I looking forward to? I don't. That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like I'm just on go mode, trying to figure out this not issue that we have, but figuring out how to reinvest in the company before the end of the year. So that's my main goal. Looking forward to figuring it all out and hitting pay.
Yeah. Well, I think that covers it. So yeah, let's wrap this one up. Glad to have a time in my life to remember that we should be grateful for big things, little things. A lot of times I put my head down and kind of grind it out. And so it's kind of nice to come up a few times a year to recognize all the progress we've made and all of the good things that have happened along the way. So whenever you guys see this video, I want to wish you the best of holidays, time with your family and friends and the relationships that matter to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this brought you any value. And as always, work hard, be nice, and keep changing.